right, guys, welcome to the first edition of Round at the Fights of 2025. My guest today is very kind enough to join me. He's a very accomplished combat sports commentator, University of Arizona State graduate, and you know what? He said, "I'm not just covering the sport. I'm just gonna get the hit too." He had get in there. He has done karate combat, grappling matches, and most recently, one of the most violent sports in the world, BKFC, bare knuckle fighting. His name is the Bane Davis. Bane, thank you for joining me. How you doing,
I'm fantastic, man. So pumped to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
bro? How you have time on your schedule? I see you. You're one day you're training, one day you're covering a regional car on Michigan or on
Yeah.
Wisconsin, then you're in Philadelphia, but the next day you're in London. It's like how you get the time, man?
Planes, man. Thankfully, scheduling and American Airlines has offered some great travel lines last year. No, it just boils down to scheduling. I've got a lot of flexibility, and thankfully, my full priority has been this broadcasting career. I don't have to balance it between a 9 to 5 or anything traditional like that. So it's all I do, and clearly, it's going okay.
Oh, I can see, man. Uh you're gonna start. I saw you're gonna start the year with a big card. We're talking about the Misfits Boxing card. That's gonna be in January 18. We're gonna be headlined by Darren Till versus Anthony Taylor. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be Tommy Fury, but I get right. He didn't. I don't know if he got afraid of the trash
Things
talking.
change. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I thought Tommy was joking for the longest time. I thought Tommy Fury was just playing up the shtick. Oh, I'm gonna pull out if he head kicks me and blah blah blah. But then he actually pulled out, so that was kind of a bummer. But there's no more deserving person than Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor to step in for this opportunity, and it's still a great card. 8 bouts, I believe, in totality, and a lot of new names. I'm not very familiar with many of these guys, so all that says to me is there's opportunity on the table.
uh from being Tommy Fury, of course, was a bigger name,
Yeah.
but Anthony Taylor is a very skilled guy. He also like the trash talk too. I have seen him.
Yeah.
Do you think he can get the best out of Darren Till? Because we honestly, the first fight of Darren Till, it ended up in a probably in the most Darren Till way.
Yeah, the
That was
brawl.
we
It
didn't
was
we didn't get to see much of him. So, well, what can we expect of this fight?
I think Darren's taking this seriously. Obviously, he's playing up the promotional side of it, but Darren's a guy who's been at the top of the UFC, so he can translate that discipline to boxing in a great fashion. And for AT, I mean, this is his world. Right. Darren Till's the one stepping into the doghouse. Make no mistake. While Till might be the A side, this is AT's realm. So believe it or not, and I stay on the fence and unbiased, obviously, in the booth. But coming into this fight week, my intuition almost leans towards AT. I think he's going to come in here short notice for sure. But that's a kid that stays ready so he doesn't have to get ready. And he's wanted this opportunity for so long. And like you highlighted, Till doesn't have much boxing experience. AT does at
Yeah.
this point in his career. So I'm leaning Pretty Boy.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see. As you said, Darren Till had been so inactive, I mean, active on social media, active on
Yeah.
on other stuff, not on fighting this much these days, right? But yeah, I can't wait. And as you said, Anthony Taylor is a great opponent. I was gonna ask you recently another announcement of another card. I think you're probably gonna be there commentating is Anthony Pettis APFC return to Milwaukee,
hmm
to the Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. That was the last card here in Milwaukee. It was amazing that place. So I think they're expected to return a couple of dates this year, starting in March. So far, your experience on Anthony Pettis fighting organization, how how uh how can you see Anthony bringing his brand name and bringing up this fight so far?
It's fantastic. I think what Anthony's done with the brand and the organization really sets the standard for a lot of other regional shows, either on UFC Fight Pass or aiming to get on UFC Fight Pass. We've got a tremendous social media manager in Johnny Yanchuk who makes sure that all of our branding on Instagram, on Twitter looks professional and the presentation is of a certain caliber, right? That's such an underrated component to, I'd say, the organization's success is what Johnny's work on the back end is providing. And on fight night and fight week, you just get this feel that it's the gold standard. And specifically with the Midwest, I mean, you've got a lot of great promotions. That are rolling around, but APFC I think has just kicked it up a notch and has provided a platform for all of these standout guys from Wisconsin, from Michigan to come in and push themselves to the next level. I think for so many martial artists, they could be the best next thing, but if there's no avenue to the top, then they'll never get there. And what APFC's provided over the last couple of years is that pathway. We're still obviously searching to get Dana White out to one of our shows in Milwaukee for
Yeah.
looking for a fight. Who knows? Maybe that'll be 2025. But we've got 8 shots this year to continue to set the standard and blow it out of the water. And like you mentioned, all starts in March, and I'm just deeply excited and grateful to get the chance to call these events, show after show. It's truly one of the more fun things I get to do is MMA.
Nice. Speaking about MMA or and we were talking about boxing. You're gonna start busy this year, but is there any fight plans scheduled for you this year, or that's on, or you're gonna rest this year?
um, Yeah, I mean, like it's been a interesting last 2 years, right? If you think about it, May 2023, I did the CFFC grappling, and then September 2023 had the boxing match with Gabe. Then June 2024, I have karate. October 2024, we've got Oscar. That's a lot of fights in a small time frame. And then when you compare all the other things that I'm up to, it's just simply not smart to maintain that frequency. And who knows? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I haven't won many of them. But I might need to take some time off to really position myself for success. So this year, the last thing that's on my mind right now is competing. I have that itch. I have this urge. You never want to end a career on a loss, and it would be nice to even out to 2-2. But yeah, I mean, nah. I mean, I don't know. If it happens, it happens, but it won't occur until like November or December of this year if I fight.
And what motivated you on the past to fight? I mean, you're in the safe side of the cage, right? On the on the
Yeah.
table or behind the microphone, you know. But what got you motivated to get into it?
I mean, that was one of the big motivators. I get the luxury of sitting risk free inside the broadcast booth in my safe little iron haven away from the action. And I think that by subjecting myself to the fire and the flames of the combat sports trenches as a competitor, it just adds another layer of credibility. It adds some more legitimacy. I think for me, there's a lot of quotes that I try and live by. And one that I was thinking about earlier today is, if you're a person who's not willing to go this far, right, then you weren't willing to get what you wanted to get, right? I'm a guy who's willing to do it all because I want to get it all. And that's just a mentality that's provided me, the ability to say yes. And I gotta also state, like, these are awesome chances that get tossed at my table, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't say no to this because this is such a cool opportunity. Fighting Anderson Silva's son. Who else gets to say that they did that, right? I mean, shit, I didn't have a chance, but like it's an awesome chapter. BKFC in Spain with a buddy of mine in Oscar, right? Those are really cool moments that I think when I'm older, I just want to be able to look back on and say, yeah, I capitalized. I wasn't the guy that said no. I was the guy that said yes, and the guy that ultimately got back up every time, he was knocked down. So that's something that has motivated me. But now I sit back and I'm like, I've done it all. There's nothing left for me to prove. There wasn't anything for me to prove in the beginning, but now there's really nothing left for me to prove. So why would I do it?
Man, no, it's that's amazing, man. And I bet like being there, like grappling, boxing, or
Mhm.
karate combat. I bet that helps you to like when you're commentating, like understand what the guys are doing better on the
Mhm.
cage or on the ring, right?
I would say in a analyst role of like seeing those positions and breaking it down further, not so much. I would say what it provides me as a play by play is to be able to build those moments even bigger for them because I've been in those shoes. I've been inside the back ready to make my walk for this huge opportunity in front of however many thousands of people, right? So I think the ability to empathize and relate firsthand allows me to greater inflate the storyline and the narrative for these guys. My goal is ultimately anytime I'm calling someone's action to make it the best moment for them possible. And now that I've, gone out there and tried this in so many different disciplines, I feel there's a different toolkit that I'm operating with from the play-by-play standpoint that maybe if someone hasn't competed, they just don't have.
So, Ben, I have, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Mhm.
I had that you have like your background is on finance on
Yeah.
for the, how do you get into combat sports? I was like that was when I was I do a bit of research before the interviews, but I read that got to me like, but, how he got here,
Yeah, you're like, what is he doing? Um, yeah, no, it is very funny, man. When I was going to ASU, I started my freshman year in 2018, and at that point in my life, I just didn't have a lot of confidence in my creative side. I didn't believe that I'd be able to make a consistent career, a secure career, and so I just kind of sidelined everything I was doing creatively and thought, okay, well, what's like the most secure thing? And to me, that was business. And within business, I had just fallen into finance, and that was just the route that I ran, for 3.5 years. And then I think it was 2021 when I was a junior, I just was really unhappy, and I was looking around, and I didn't click with either the classwork, the internships, the other people. There was no ingredient within business that at that point in my life made me happy, made me passionate. And so if I graduated from ASU and went into an entry level finance gig, nothing changed. Nothing would change. It'd be the same people, it'd be the same areas of focus, it'd be the same unhappiness, right? So I just, for me, needed to pivot, and I'm dumb enough to be a risky guy that would take this chance and put all of the eggs in this combat sports basket. And midway through my junior year, it was like, all right, I need to make this work. And so everything I did from that point forward was just in the effort of creating where we're at now and where we're going. But yeah, it was I finished the finance degree. I got it right over there. I never use it, but it's there.
No, I can see that. I mean, uh, I will say the average people that go to college happen the same thing. They get
Hmm.
the degree and they say like, oh, I know a lot of people probably probably 80% of my circle is like that. Like, what I did
Yeah,
this, what I studied that. No, I can tell you. So I first knew about you, but I'm gonna be honest. I first knew about you on Twitter. On
yeah,
X now, formerly Twitter.
that's bad.
If you haven't, and I'm gonna tell people if you haven't followed, probably they know, but if you haven't, please follow Ben Davis on X, formerly Twitter. Well, probably one of the funniest accounts ever. So how that creativity get into you? Like most of those memes and jokes like come from you, or you have like some help sometimes, or what's going on there?
No, I mean, well, most of them do. I think I get, so here's the funny thing. I get slammed for stealing things on Twitter frequently. That's one thing that gets thrown at me. And I don't really understand that criticism because if you look at God, and this is gonna sound so dumb, but like meme culture, right? It's creating a joke template, it's a comedic template, and then you are like Mad Libs almost putting the inflections on it. So the same joke template could work within the NFL circles. It could work within the NBA circles. It's just the template. And so I get slammed for stealing, but in reality, what I do more often than not is just take a template and then, convert it to UFC or MMA type humor. But yeah, no, I mean, it's for me, the social media platform that's just clicked the most. If you look at my Instagram or my TikTok, you'd be like, well, this kid's not doing well on those platforms. He's not really rocking and rolling there. But for some reason, TikTok, or excuse me, Twitter and I just clicked, and it's something I got a finger on the pulse on. And I think it's Not really the best community. I mean, candidly, like the combat sports fans, there's a pretty vocal demographic that I would say I disagree with on a lot of
Yeah.
things. Um, but it's the one where you do get just direct communication and direct access, and I think that's important. I think that for me, my style of humor and communicating on social media platforms, like the ability to just go back and forth and have a dialogue, can either be great or bad, and most times it's bad. But like the times where you do get these great discussions, and you can sort of sit back and go, well, this is one of the reasons why I like MMA is because of fans like this, where we can have these hypothetical dialogues of who beats who or who's pound for pound in a positive, constructive, academic way. I think that's kind of what drives me to Twitter more so than anything else. But yeah, the memes, most of them are from right here.
No, and what I can see on the comment, the reception, I will by reading, you
Mhm.
get all the notification and the comments, right? But I think the reception is good, and a lot of people react in a good way, in a humorous way. And as you said, the humor is not for everybody. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
think someone yesterday just said that they should kill me with hammers, and that has like 2,000 likes, I think,
oh my
right
god,
now.
oh my god,
So
man.
it happens, but yeah, that's all part of the game, baby. That's all part of the game.
Man, speaking about X or Twitter, what's the deal with
Mm.
Jake Shields? What happened with him?
I don't know. That's a good question. What happened with Jake Shields? I think Jake's the only one that can answer that truthfully. He's made out like after his competitive career, he's made so many decisions that I just scratch my head at. I think that Jake could have been a truly fantastic ambassador for mixed martial arts, for combat sports, certainly for jujitsu.
Yeah,
But instead he's kind of made his bed in a really frustrating way, and a manner that I think pisses off so many people and just incentivizes violence and a lot of negativity. So I don't know. I mean, I think Jake could have been great, but unfortunately, Jake Shields is Jake Shields. As for the back and forth that he and I had, I don't know. I mean, it was funny because Ariel Helwani, who's a buddy and obviously one of the best figures I would say on the media side
yep.
within MMA and combat sports. He's devastated everybody in the verbal arguments that he either that people start with him. And so for me, I look back and I'm like, why would you even start a problem with Ariel? He's got like a 98% win record against people. Like, why even start bullshit, especially when you know that it's not truthful? So for me, it was just really upsetting to see Jake and Bilal in that podcast clip
Yeah.
spreading lies, spreading complete lies. And Helwani took, the next day or so to just debunk every single little thing that Jake Shields decided to spew, which I think is necessary because if you're not someone that is familiar, then you would maybe see what Jake and Bilal are talking about and believe it. And that's just a problem, that's self-explanatory. So I think for me, I decided to hop in, which I shouldn't have done, and, and maybe dogpile a little bit, you know what I mean? And that's when Jake and I had our whole little back and forth. But yeah, I don't know. I think Jake's a guy that loves misinformation, and misinformation loves Jake.
Yeah, man, and I will tell. I just I met Jake once in a Bellator
Yeah.
card. It was Gilbert Melendez's wife was fighting, and the
Mm.
whole crew was there. Nate, for the first time I was starstruck with MMA personalities. It was like Nate Diaz was there in the Bellator media room. I was like, oh my god, Nate Diaz is here. And when I not, oh Jake, but Jake, hey, I didn't ask you for a picture. I asked Nate just in case, right?
Just so he
I
knows,
said,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's the funny thing is like, we had a good half-hour chat at Karate Combat. I was working the event. It was Pettis Henderson 3, and I was doing the digital marketing and like fighter ops stuff for KC, which I'd done about like 8 or 9 different times from 2022 to the end of 2023. And he was there, and me and Ian Parker, who's one of ESPN's analysts, were chatting. He was standing next to us, include him in the conversation. And he didn't have any of this energy in person. It was completely absent. He's a normal dude when you talk to him. And I think I'd made a joke. I was like, you go pretty hard on Twitter. And he's like, yeah, well, you got to stir the pot, right? But when he said, oh, when you asked me for a photo, I looked through. I was like, Did I really take a photo with him? Didn't take a photo. It's just not
Oh.
my style. I don't take selfies with people, man. That's fan behavior. And the one person I'm not a fan of is Jake Shields.
Man, I do say I asked Ben for a picture, but I didn't ask Jake Shields. So,
There we go. There we go.
well, Ben, man, I really appreciate your time, bro. Thanks for doing this. I think I kind of asked you what I wanted to know. Appreciate your time, man. Uh, any final thoughts before we wrap up, or
Nah, man. Just can't wait to see you crush it this year, baby. Be
yeah?
consistent, be good, and I'll be tuning in.
Thanks, man. Well, guys, there you had it. Please remember to subscribe and like the interview. Ben the Bane Davis, thank you. Round of applause, imaginary applause here around the house. All right.
I'm waiting till they add me to the poster on these
Yeah,
APFC cards. I
man.
mean, shit, they got everybody but me.
Yeah, they don't have fighting Dave there neither. It's like,
That's what I said. Me and David, me and Michael, we
yeah.
all got to get up there.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.